Hello angels, it's me again. It's Saturday and I am off to the office. Yeah. School holidays, got my kitty winks, and that means that I have to work whenever I get a chance. So today I'm going to be talking to you about managing your emotions, because I know some of you won't be able to log in for whatever reason. Some of you are sleeping, some of you will wake up to watch this video, but this is really going to be good for you. Managing your emotions. Now, last night I was watching Love Island because my son has an obsession with it and he really shouldn't be watching it, so I hope his dad is not watching this, but I'm one of those really terrible parents that kind of, I feel like I know the levels of his maturity that he's able to, but I kind of, as long as I watch it with him and whatever, but he likes it. I think he enjoys the interaction and everything else, and those of you who've met my son know that he's switched on. So anyway, I was watching it with him yesterday, kind of, because I think I was somewhat preoccupied. But basically, there was a scenario in Love Island where there was this young girl. I hadn't seen the episodes prior, so I'm just sort of going on what he was telling me and what I picked up along the way. What had happened was this guy and this girl got together, were really close. Then they were kind of put on different islands with different sets of beautiful women. And at the end, the women were put on an island with handsome men. And at the end of that sort of week or a few days, whatever, they had to come back either to go back to their partners or with somebody new. Long story short is, the guy went off, found somebody new, and sort of walked into the villa with this. No, I think the girls went away, so she'd been faithful, held on, I'm going to see him and we're going to continue where we left off. She comes back to find that he's chosen one of the girls who had been in the villa, so he had sort of jumped ship. And obviously in the time that they were there, he was being mean to her, and I got the impression that he was like, listen, it's over, or whatever, and she was clearly very heartbroken. So anyway, anywho, as a Love Island goes, these things, a new guy or a new set of boys come into the villa. So now this new guy, likes her, starts to give her attention, treat her like a lady, really treat her lovely, and all of a sudden a smile comes back on her face. She starts to feel good, and then the public vote out the other girl that the guy who had cheated on her was with. I hope the story is clear because I need it to be clear. So Michael, the girl he had left, whatever her name is, for, she gets voted out. So now Michael sees the beautiful smile on this girl's face and decides that he wants her back, and now he's doing the whole I still like you thingy-majig. Obviously all of us watching are thinking, oh my god, please don't fall for it, because he's just doing that because the other girl's left. If she was still here, it would not be the same party. It would be a completely different story. And he's just lonely, and the options that are left either taken or he's not interested. So we can all see that, the public can see that, some of the women in the villa, the girls in the villa, can see that and are trying to talk sense to her. But here's where the story is really important. So she's sitting by the fire and she's talking to the girls, and the girls are like, the girls are asking her sort of what's going on, what are you going to do, because now she has to choose who she's going to couple up with. So now she's confused because her heart is in one hand yearning for this new guy. Hello. Her guy's yearning obviously for this. Her heart is obviously happy with this new guy, but now she's had this new information and she's gone back to yearning for this other guy. It's clear that she has more chemistry with Michael. Let's call the other one Rob, the new one Rob. Rob is a lovely guy. She obviously has great affection for him, but she has more chemistry with Michael. So she's sitting around sort of ruminating, should she choose Rob, who was obviously good and kind to her when she'd been thrown out into the gutter, or she should choose Michael, who she has this chemistry with. So they're asking a question. So she sits there and she says, Michael and I, we clearly have this connection, and he makes my heart flutter every time I see him, and blah 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 blah. But, you know, Rob has been so good to me and is so kind to me and is such a gentleman and it's, you know, da, 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 da. So I really don't know what to choose. Now, we were watching and realizing that actually we knew exactly who she was going to choose, who she should choose. Now, here's where the issue was. She thought that it was about her emotions, but it wasn't about her emotions. Because you manage your emotions are actually have a managing director. So your emotions are not an entity of their own. They don't manage you. They have a manager, and the manager is the mind. The mind manages the emotions, and the mind is run by thoughts, the things that we allow ourselves to think, and thoughts are managed by words. Okay, does that make sense? So your emotions are not an entity all by themselves that exist all by themselves with their own self-management system. They actually have to report to your mind, and your mind has to report to your thoughts, and your thoughts report to your words, and it's a cycle. Okay, so your words, the words you use, the words that come out of your mouth create images, they create thoughts. So if I say, oh, so she was using this language, so that's why we have to watch our language. And that's why NLP is called neuro-linguistic programming, because it has to do with your speech patterns and your language. So my pastor gave me a book called Heal Your Tongue. Yes, I am in the middle of reading it. I've just started, but I know the power of, you know, your tongue, and we know the word says, you know, your tongue in James is like a rudder that moves the ship. And really, whilst things are put in a way that is scriptural, they have a scientific basis. And, you know, I feel like science only discovers what God already kind of put in place. And so when we use certain words, so she was describing Michael and saying, oh, he makes my heart flutter. And as she spoke about him using those particular words, what was happening is she was giving herself an imagery, and that imagery became thoughts. And those thoughts got into her mind, and her mind started to affect her emotions. So what she needed to have been doing is using a different set of words towards Mr. Wrong and the right set of words towards Mr. Right. She should have been using her linguistics, her language, to say, Michael makes me feel unworthy, makes me feel unloved and like somebody that he wants to use. But Rob, on the other hand, makes my heart flutter and he makes me excited. And what happens is the mind itself doesn't know what is true or false. The mind doesn't know what is true or false, what is good or bad. What the mind knows is what it is told. Because remember, it serves the thoughts, right? And remember, the thoughts are served by the words. So you have to speak the things that you want to think so that the thoughts affect the mind and the mind begins to govern the emotions. So had she used the right words around the right person with the right actions for the right situation, she would have found that her affections and her emotions would have moved to be more congruent with that which was helpful to her. I was talking to a friend yesterday, and she was she's online dating, and she was saying that the biggest problem that she has is that she chooses with her eyes. She doesn't want an unattractive guy, and so she gets stuck because on one website there are loads of great guys who are serious about relationship, but they're not attractive at all. And what her issue was is that she has tagged, if you like, the wrong words, the wrong words to the wrong things. So she has trained her mind to believe that attractive men are the ones that give her a buzz, that excite her, that are worth knowing. But what she needs to do is to begin to change the tag. You see, we change our tag and we win the battle with our words. Okay, so what she needs to say is, I am really attracted to men that are serious and want to take good care of me emotionally and who respect me. I find that is a turn on much more than how a man looks. And just because a man is good looking doesn't mean that I find him attractive. You see, our words are affecting our thoughts, and our thoughts are affecting our mind, and our mind is affecting our emotions. So we're finding ourselves, but the problem, though the emotion has many bosses, has a lot of people, a lot of systems above it controlling it, it is the one that actually ultimately makes the decisions for us. How ironic. So the emotions, regardless of the logic, the emotions are ultimately what make the decisions for us, the decisions of who we date, the decisions of who becomes our friend, the decisions of what we allow is our emotions. So in order for us to start to make right decisions, positive decisions, life-affirming decisions, decisions that actually affect our lives, we need to begin to realize that I am going to make an emotional decision right now. When it comes to purchasing even a business item, is going to be an emotional decision. I am going to make an emotional decision about the person that I fall in love with. I'm going to make an emotional decision regarding where I spend my time today. I'm going to make an emotional decision about how I spend my time today. Every decision that you are making is coming from the emotions, male or female. It is coming from the emotions. It is not coming from the rational, thoughtful mind, because we all know that what we eat is being governed by the emotions. But now you know how to manage the emotions. Same thing as if you're trying to lose weight. Instead of telling your mind that apples and fruit is just not as yummy as ice cream, begin to speak about apples and fruit and healthy food with the same linguistics, with the same language that you would use for ice cream, and begin to speak about ice cream in the same way that you would speak about food that is crappy. Okay, when you begin to use the right words, you can actually make bad habits that you emotionally are driven to become bad, have bad connotations or bad emotions in you by how you switch your language. So the battle is in the language. Now, what happens is what we create are what we call neurological pathways. What we create are pathways of speaking, thinking, and behaving that need to be disrupted. The only way you can begin to disrupt a pattern is if you, become aware, because awareness is the key, right? And you affirm and speak differently. So what you need to do to manage your emotions, especially if your emotions are leading you to the wrong men, the wrong situations, the wrong financial decisions, then you need to begin to disrupt the pattern of thought that goes with it. You need to begin to disrupt the pattern of thought, and that is a bit of a battle. You will have a bit of a battle because the mind will always fight you to go to what is familiar. The mind will fight you to go to what is familiar, but you can speak the words. Now you're thinking, so what controls my words then? Your words are controlled by your soul, and your soul is controlled by your spirit. They're things that are true to your spirit and that communicates through your soul, and then your words come forth. So what we are going to be doing this week is managing our words, healing our words. I think I've got the book here. I'm not sure if you can get it, but you can read it with me and we can probably have a little bit of a discussion. I haven't started reading it properly yet, but it's by Derek Prince and it's called Does Your Tongue Need Healing? And it's amazing to me how much I actually need it myself because sometimes we forget and we fall into familiar patterns. We all fall into familiar patterns. So you have to hold yourself accountable and have other people around you hold you accountable so that you are using your words to speak the things that you want to see. And those of us who go to church, hear this all the time. It's not a new sermon. But I wanted you to see how the platform works, how the process is working for you or against you when it comes to selecting men. So for all of us who are whatever we think is our struggle, think about the words you're using towards that struggle, and think about how you can use a different set of words to paint a different set of pictures, to create a different thought system, to create a different emotional response. So I hope this video was helpful. And of course, if it is, make sure you leave a comment, and I will see you soon on my next video. In the meantime, have a great weekend. See you again tomorrow. Bye bye now. Mwah.